Hi, Susan Blue Robot here from SusanBlueRobot.com. I'm here today with another help video using Make the Cuts Pop-Up Cards Studio. This one is going to be called No Anchors on Top of the Letters. Yes, and it still pops up. If you see in this picture here, the lettering is straight up and down with no folds at the bottom on the top of the star, and the anchors are from the line on the star. So we're going to go ahead and do this. It just gives you another look of how to put your lettering on top of things. As long as you've got them with no folds here, it's perfectly fine to have no anchors on the top of the letters. And that gives it more a rounded feel if you like fonts that are rounded and you don't want to do that cropping for the anchors. So what we'll do is we'll start. I'll bring in a star. Of course, you can put it on anything that's got straight lines so you can anchor. And we'll, of course, that does not mean that you have to, hang on, that means that you still have to trim the bottom of your star so that's anchored to the bottom of your plane. So we go plane down, in the center, plane down. Okay. Now, what we do, and might make that a bit bigger. Plane down. Okay. Now we bring in our font. Now, I can't remember which font I used for this example. I have a lot of fonts that I do tend to go to lots. We'll use this one for now then. Let me go add. Let me go select. Now, what we do is we split these. Splitting, not break apart. If we broke apart the middles of the letters that have middle parts, will fall apart. Now we just move this out a bit. We go U. We space them, and the idea is to get a little bit of space between these letters. So the U and the R are going to be on the letters without anchors. Going to be the letters without anchors. So this is going to go on this side, and the R is going to go on this side. So you put them in place, still making sure that you have space between the letters, because that's important. Because that allows the star to hold up. Just play around with it. Get it to the way you want. You've got to have them overlapping the bottom a bit. What I might do is take them down in size, and I might space the R out, the A out. So I've got space in between each letter. That gives it the star enough space to hold your lettering up. Now, if we now add anchors, So I hit the space bar and I go to this plane here where the yellow line is on the top of the star here, and I'm going to go to point rec auto and a snapping of about 1/8 or higher. Now the reason I didn't weld my letters first is because I want to double check before welding them that they are going to fit in the anchors and not chop the anchors off. So with those selected, I'm going to put them down to the bottom. This key over here takes them down under, and we're going to go back to this plane. I hit the space bar to get back to that plane. Now I just pan around. There's no broken. If the E had been over a bit, it would have been broken, so it wouldn't have been holding. But they all look fine. This space between the U. Now I grab these lettering and the star, UR, and the star, and I go weld. Now what we have is that is just sitting there now with no anchors on the top of the letter, no chopping, so it's still nice and rounded, and it will still pop up because your anchors are on your star. So it is possible if you have other things to put it on, other platforms to put it on, as long as you don't plan to want to fold these letters, this all now becomes one shape. The other thing I did do is because I'm using a font that's not a stencil font, I have to make it a stencil font, which that's easy enough done. We'll just zoom in here. It's the R and the A. If I cut them out, they're just going to look like the solid outline and the middle's going to fall out. So you zoom in, you get the erase tool and a straight line, and you maybe bigger than that. It's trial and error as to where to put it. I would take the snapping down though. And that's better. And yep, you can take your time and turn it into a stencil type of card. Type of font, I mean. So you're still able to use the matching font up above, and then I'd probably zoom in and spend more time on making that perfect, but this is just for demonstration purposes. And we grab these and we put them in place. What you've got to remember when putting them in place, holding the control key down also gives you more control over the turning. When you put them in place, that's all fine and good, because when it cuts, it is going to cut out those letterings. But if you want to do a virtual snapshot, if I do a virtual snapshot just of that, it's going to come with the UR and just a plain star. So what you do is you select all and you do a join. Select all and do a join. It then gives you what it's going to look like. So it's going to look like this. See how this one, when I do the virtual snapshot, didn't show that, but when you do a preview after joining it, it's now cut out so you can see what it's going to look like. Don't forget to save it. Recommended saving as a PCS file, and then if you are taking it over to a SVG, you can save it as an SVG file, but keep the PCS file in case you need to go back and tweak it a little bit. This has been Susan Blue Robot at susanbluerobot.com, showing you that you don't need anchors on the top of the fonts if you put the anchors somewhere else to still hold up your fonts and using shapes. So I hope this has helped people. It gives you a lot more use of other different fonts, thinner fonts. I have done, I think, 2 other examples cards using the thinner fonts, even though some people say, oh, you have to use the thick, solid, like Arial fonts and things like that. It's not 100% necessary, but it is a bit of trial and error. So thank you for visiting and coming to watch this help video. And if you'd like to purchase Make the Cut or Pop-Up Card Studio, you can go to my blog at susanbluerobot.com and follow the links from there.